Good morning and happy Friday, folks. Welcome to another episode of Riding to Work with Coach Rob. I hope everybody had a great week. I know I did. Wanted to talk to the gentleman out there. Now, when I say that, ladies, please listen. This is not just for the guys, because most of us and a lot of the friends I have and at some point will interact or be married to or in a relationship with a guy. All right, ladies, so please listen to this so it helps you understand what goes on in our head a little more. People say that we're simple creatures. I wish it was the case, because we're not. So I want to talk about some things that are learned as we grow up and as we evolve as men, that have come up in some of the coaching practices I do through my Enlifted brand. Dealing with a lot of guys who are very masculine, come from a lot of success, a lot of hard work, and yet they struggle. They struggle a lot. No one sees it, because when they walk in their room, they have a presence. They are larger than life. They fill up a room with their strength and their personality. All right, and their success follows them along with them. So when they come in, people know who they are, and they want to learn from them and talk to them and interact. So they're constantly giving and giving and giving, and all the stuff they take in or deal with, or that upsets them or bothers them or affects them mentally, emotionally, they just hold on to. I was the same way. Still am, because it's a constant practice and constant work to not be. So, gentlemen, holding in and holding on to things that upset you, or things that affect you in a negative way, things that weigh you down, that's hurting. Not only hurting you mentally and emotionally, but hurting you and stopping you from progressing in life. You might have a level of success. Imagine the level of success you would have if you weren't holding on to extra baggage, extra weight, extra thoughts, extra words that you have told yourself or someone else has told you that just hurt. I guarantee, if you're listening to this, if you take a minute, take a breath and think, there are things you're sitting there holding on to. Either things you did, things you experienced, things someone said to you, things you said to yourself, that when you think of them, you get choked up a little bit. Your chest gets tight, you get uncomfortable. Then you take a deep breath, you push it down and walk away. Well, guess what? Whether you like it or not, it's still there. You're still holding on to it. It's still weighing you down. It is still stopping you from moving forward in life and reaching the level of success and enjoyment that you could reach. So, a few examples. I'll use myself, because I've worked through a lot of my stories, and I'm okay with that now. So let's talk athletics, because a lot of guys I work with are athletes or former athletes. Let's talk about choices made growing up. For me, something that weighed on me a lot was my choice to switch from football to soccer. All right. Had fun playing soccer, had a great time. I still had a bunch of the what if statements floating around in my mind. What if I stuck with football? I was a little bit later bloomer throughout high school, but when I did bloom, when I was in that 16 time frame, the speed and strength and ability really came out. Where I feel that I would have been able to play at a decent level with football. I'm not going to say high level. I'm not going to say whatever I would have done or could have done, should have done, because I didn't do it. There's no reason to talk about it. But that weighed on me for a long time. Even in college, I interacted with a lot of football players and football coaches, and they asked me why I didn't play. And I made the choice at a young age, I think junior high, 7th grade-ish, when I moved to a new school district to play soccer, because I could walk onto the team without an issue. Football was a larger barrier of entry for me, even though I already played football. It was just tough to break into a new team, so I chose the easier route. And had a great soccer career, had a lot of fun doing it. So that weighed on me for a long time when it came to sports. What if? The opportunity, what if? Work through it. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I wouldn't have made the choices I made. All right. College. Let's talk about the major I chose. When searching for colleges, my original major was criminal justice. I wanted to become a police officer and hopefully work into a higher level, into the FBI ranks or into that level. That was a goal coming out of high school. Had a track coach my senior year from Slippery Rock. I was really into personal training and weightlifting and bodybuilding at the time. During track season, he saw my development. He's like, hey, I went to school for sport management. Why don't you do something like this? This is what you can do with it. And he outlined the possibilities of that major. And I switched. And I chose a school based on that major. Prior to that, my number one pick would have been Shippensburg, a D2 school, same conference, what school I chose, Slippery Rock. But a lot of things happened at Slippery Rock, both good and bad, that I would not have experienced if I wouldn't have made that choice. I look back at where I'm at success-wise and professionally. Still have a long road ahead of me to get to where I want to go. But was it the right choice? There's a time where I questioned that. So that weighed on me. I guarantee there's choices you made as a man growing up that have affected where you're at today. And I guarantee you go back and you think about it. You think about the what ifs. Would have, could have, should have. You know? That pops up. But you made the choices you made based on where you were at, the priorities you had at the time, and the goals you had at the time. And things moved forward, they progressed, and they got you to where you are today. Alright? It wasn't anybody else that made the choices for you guys. But what I'm trying to get to is those choices that would have, could have, should have, what ifs, if you're still holding on to those, you can't really progress down the path you're currently on. You're holding on to something that's holding you back. You gotta let that shit go. And that's not that easy, because we as men are taught to bottle up emotions, bottle up thoughts and emotions and feelings, and just bury them, put them down. Don't deal with that, don't let it out, don't talk about it. And sure as shit, don't show any emotion. Don't do that. That shows weakness. I am here to tell you 100% that is wrong. That old mentality and that archaic approach to manhood is wrong. Alright, guys? You have those what if things, you have those what if could have, talk about it. Talk to your wife. Talk to your best friend. Come talk to me, I'll listen. Alright, find me. Here in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Come find me. We'll talk. Call me. Hit me up on YouTube. DM me. I'll listen, we'll talk. Get that stuff out. Even better, title it and write it down. Title the choice like soccer instead of football. The choice. Titled it. Then write that story down. 1, 2, 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs, 5 pages, whatever it comes out to be, write it down. When you're done writing it down, read it. Straight through, just read it. Don't put it on paper and then walk away from it. Because that means you're not really feeling it. When I say write it down, get a pen and a paper. Not a keyboard and a screen. Alright? Write it down. Now I want you to read it. Now I want you to read it again, but at 60% of your normal pace. I want you to see and hear and experience every word you put on the paper. Usually, read it slower. It's going to provoke some emotions. It's going to happen. Don't fight those. Let them happen. Experience the feelings. Honor the feels is what we say. Experience it. Alright? Then I'm going to have you read it even again. This time, every time you see a period or a comma, deep through the nose, out through the mouth, audible breath. Okay? Let that settle in. And as you're reading this, sometimes more stories come up. Write down titles of the next story. When you get there, write it down. Follow the process. Title it, write it down, read it at 60%, read it with breath. The more you read through these stories, the less effect they're going to have on you. Alright? I've done this with the death of my parents. And that weighed me down. Man, that put me through the worst depression ever, whether I wanted to admit it or not. Alright? I had all kinds of stuff pent up. Would've, could've, should've, what if stories. Like, shit I thought I fucked up. I'm like, God, I wish I would have done that different. But as I wrote these things down, and I read them. Titled them. And I read them with breath. Read them again and again and again. It helped me really honor the experiences I did have. It helped me experience the emotions I do have. Get them out. Live in them for a little bit. And then they slowly have less of an effect or less of an ownership on you, on your mental and emotional real estate. We don't have much of that, folks. Don't block that up. Stuff you're holding on to. Alright? You gotta free up all that mental and emotional real estate that you have for all the greatness that is gonna come your way. All the amazing things you experience on a daily basis. And all the goals that are gonna happen in your future. You need to make space for that stuff. Or guess what? You're not gonna be able to handle it. You won't be as successful as you could be when you're holding on to all these stories. Alright? I don't care who you are. I don't care if you are a professional athlete or you work at Starbucks. Alright? We have stories. Alright? We have stories we need to deal with. We have stories we need to get out. And strength is not hiding from emotion and bearing emotion. True strength, real strength, comes from experiencing emotion and allowing yourself to feel it. That's hard. I don't care who you are. That's hard. That takes true strength, true power. Once you learn how to do that, man, you're free. You're free. You can experience a lot that way. A lot of good comes your way when you free up that space. Alright, folks. This is a good one today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you stuck with it. If you did, I hope you have a great day. And we will talk to you next Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Happy June. Let's keep rocking.